we're going to start our Support Music Community Forum here just a little bit before 9. We thank all of you from joining us on the web from around the country, and please share the login at lennonbus.org/live so anyone can log in. We know it's a little bit early on the West Coast, but as folks are gathering, turn on that web stream and see if you can join us. We really can't be here this morning at Decatur Central High School without taking a moment to acknowledge that this is a community in mourning and in healing for the loss of a very beloved member of the community, Officer Bradway of the Indianapolis Police Department, who was lost in the line of duty just this last weekend. We acknowledge his, so many people have spoken to me about his remarkable spirit, his remarkable service, and he was also a band parent, and his children are in the music education program. So we join you in the heaviness of this moment, and we celebrate with you his commitment to the community, to all of you, to his children, to the quality of his children's education, and also to the quality of the life of this community. So I guess we would say we would dedicate this gathering to him, and we would dedicate this conversation about the goals that we share for the best that children must have to learn and grow in our communities and to learn and grow through music and the arts. And we share your sadness, and we also believe that going forward he will be part of the song in his children's hearts. He'll be part of the song in all of your hearts going forward, and we are grateful that we could be here. And I thank all of you for being such great hosts to the NAMM Foundation, the Support Music Coalition, that we could join you here today. Our students were wonderful. To hear students play music is the most important thing that we can do day to day, and to know what it takes for them to be great students. For them to be great students, it takes great teachers. So I would, all the teachers that I've met so far, and all the teachers that will be sharing their time on the panel, especially to Tim Cox, thank you very much for being a great teacher. We are here in Decatur High School in Indianapolis as part of the High School Nation tour that the John Lennon Educational Tour Bus is participating on. I knew I was in the right place this morning as I drove up past the high school, and I drove around, and there was the bus. So I knew I was in the right place. They'll be offering student tours today. They'll be offering chances for students to have experiences on the bus today to learn about audio and video technology. And we're very grateful for our wonderful collaboration with them to bring these forums and to bring these conversations together with community, and also share the conversation here in this community out to our web community. So the gentleman that helped really make this all happen at Decatur, who opened his door, who opened his mind and his heart to the idea of broadcasting from here and being part of this, was the director of the ICE community, which I've now learned is Imagination, Create, and Express community here at Decatur Central High School. The wonderful director, school administrator, who will share some words with us now. Please join me in welcoming Todd Sconce.
Thank you, Mary. Obviously, it's a pleasure to have you guys here with us. It's our honor, obviously, and when we can spread the word about music education and music through the arts and learning through the arts, we definitely want to do that. Here at Decatur Central, we're a little unique. We have a comprehensive high school in the past of about 2,000 students. As the kids that are in the audience know and understand, we took that concept and broke it down into 5 small learning communities. And we're all about the students. We feel like it's really their school, and how they learn best should be us meeting them on their needs, not necessarily the other way around. So we have one small school that's dedicated totally to the arts. It's called ICE, as Mary alluded to. We're an artful learning school, which is a national model that we have adopted just recently, the last year and a half. We're excited to partner with Artful Learning. and get the word out. Get the word out about arts and education. And as been told earlier in the pre-broadcast, we were talking about Indianapolis and how it's really a hidden gem of music education and the arts, right here in the Midwest. And we're really excited to help not only continue that, but add to that. We have a great staff, we have great kids, and we have a great tradition within our community of appreciation of the arts, music, and theater. And obviously we want to continue and build on that. And with the foundation of the NAMM Foundation and the Lennon bus and the things that are going on here, that's going to do nothing but keep that going and grow that as we go forward. Like I said, we're very lucky to have some of the staff we have. The next gentleman I'm going to bring up here in a minute is Mr. Nate Davis. He's our Assistant Superintendent of Schools for Decatur Township Schools. And I'm going to let him talk here in a minute about some things that he's involved with and helping with get us pushed in the right direction. Again, we're very pleased to have everybody joining us this morning. And again, anytime we can teach through the arts, we feel like it's a great conduit to engage kids. And we feel like if kids are engaged, they're going to be more apt to learn. And right now, our scores are showing that. In the last couple of years, our standardized testing scores, since we've been teaching through Artful Learning, have went up. Our attendances went up. All those measurable factors, since we've been doing this, have started going the right direction. And we hope that to continue. So the next gentleman I'm going to bring up is our Assistant Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Nate Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Sconson. I want to welcome all of you who are here live in Indianapolis, right here at Decatur Central High School, as well as all those who are tuning in this morning via web. So welcome, everyone. Welcome to Decatur Township. Welcome to Decatur Central High School. Decatur Central and Decatur Township is on the southwest side of Indianapolis, our state capital in Indiana, roughly around 6,100 students as a school district. About 9 campuses. And what we are very proud of here in Decatur Township is we are very proud of our students. Proud of our students in terms of the individual pathways that they have chosen, the different learning pathways that they have chosen. And one of those pathways that we talk about today is through the ICE community and artful learning and the arts and the importance of music and artistic expression. And I think it's kind of apropos today that we have the Lennon bus here, and John Lennon. There's no better 3 words to describe ICE and John Lennon as imagine, create, and express. And, going through the situations we are currently as a school district, we want to make sure that the arts is at the forefront of what we're doing in terms of educating our students here in Decatur Township. We're very proud of our students. We're very proud of the learning that they're doing, as well as our staff who are integrating their core curriculum, as well as the Common Core throughout their curriculum and being able to integrate the arts within that curriculum. So once again, we want to welcome you all here. We're very, very proud of our students. We really appreciate, Mary, the kind words of condolences and sympathy for the Bradway family and for our Decatur community. I know that Officer Bradway and the Bradway family would be very, very proud of the students that are sitting up here today, and hopefully that we can all express ourselves through music, and we will continue to move forward as a school district. And we're very, very happy to have you here today. And I'm going to call Mary back up. But once again, thank you and welcome from Decatur Township.
Thank you so much. And I actually really do love the class-changing bells that we're hearing. I don't know. I was a teacher for a long time, so that just sort of makes me very, very, very happy. Thank you to our school administrators and leaders and our guests that are here. Hopefully, some of you that are with us on the web and are in the room are with us for the first time. And a little background, and hopefully many of you are tuning in to see what we're doing this morning in Indianapolis. The Support Music Coalition is a 10-year-old national, actually international effort with a goal to support communities in their desires to keep music education strong. And we bleed over a little bit into the arts. You know, we know that when there's a commitment to the overall arts education in a school, music education is part of that, or sometimes leads or guides that initiative, and all the arts can become stronger or do get stronger. So we gather together on a monthly basis via a conference call or a webcast, and to kick off our second decade, now that we've just had our 10th anniversary, we wanted to go out and really touch the people that we were seeking to serve through a series of community forums. And this is our second. We had the first one on September 10th in Southern California. You can view that gathering on YouTube if you're interested. And next week we will have 3, one in Lansing, Michigan, one in Pittsburgh, and one in Philadelphia. And at the end of those 5 forums, we'll sort of pull ourselves back together, and we might then do a spring tour. So if you're interested, stay in touch with the coalition if this type of event would be valuable for you in your community. Because at the end of the day, we can advocate to our U.S. Congress about the value of music education and push laws and push sensibilities to support music education through federal title programs, which you can do, by the way. We can work on the state level to assure that our state funding is adequate and our state laws are adequate to support the arts as part of the core curriculum. But at the end of the day, though, we know that the buck stops here. And the buck stops here in this community and every community everywhere when local decision makers, school boards, parents, teachers are setting the goals for the children of their community. And there is no more precious responsibility than the education of children. So that's why we are having this wonderful experience being in communities and talking to people, and then hopefully some of these ideas, I think they will, I don't really hope, I really believe they will, travel over to other communities who are maybe struggling with other choices and other opportunities and other problems about adequately supporting music and arts education, and that those communities will organize and maybe come together in a very positive way to move these opportunities forward. And that's where I'm so glad to welcome our panel, who are going to really articulate some of these ideas. One thing I'd like to just, before we start our panel discussion, is to always do a shout out to our steering committee for the Support Music Coalition. I won't list your names this time, but I really thank all of you for your great cooperation and your great support of this effort. And also to anyone that is in that process of inviting young children, 3rd, 4th, 5th graders into music education programs throughout the country. There's our wonderful resources at the nammfoundation.org website through the Music Achievement Council for recruitment and retention guides. And I encourage you to use those resources to help get students and families involved with music education programs, and then to make sure that those students stay on and are involved with those programs so they can come to a high school like this and be a part of this experience when they come through. So again, thank you to our panel. I will say we've had a little bit of some changes as we go through. Panelists, having a panel is like that. Todd, why don't we move your chair up so you're part of the panel? And the panel, as you speak, you're going to need to grab a microphone. Why don't you take the mics off of the stand now so we can, and I think, I just want to make sure I can be remote. Are you still hearing me? Still work? I don't know if I need my mic. Yes, I understand. I'll be all right? Okay, I'm good to go. So that we have quite a large panel, which is wonderful. So, and we also have the addition of some students who have just joined us as been part of the panel. So let's jump into our question. And, you know, this is a round-robin format, so anyone should just, raise a hand or grab a microphone or jump over somebody, or we want to make this kind of fun and interactive, because we don't have name tags or we don't know who you are. Just state your name, and it can just be first name and kind of where you're from and what your role is. So even though we're in this remarkable academy that's a part of Decatur High School, have there been challenges along the way? You know, we've only heard, you know, in our pre-interview, everything's just like wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. But what have been some of the challenges to get you to where you are? And you know, I think I'm talking to the teachers and the school administrators here. Anyone want to jump in, Todd?
I can start. Obviously, one of the challenges that we've faced, which is something that every school system has faced in the last 10 years, is funding. Obviously, we've had cuts that we've had to make to make things go. It's unfortunate, and we're lucky we see some economic upturn that's starting to take place, and hopefully we can establish and not only establish the programs that maybe have gotten cut, but go on beyond that, because we're starting to see, everything's data related now. Everybody wants to see the results, and within ICENS particularly, with teaching through the arts, we can have the data that proves our standardized test scores are going up.
Tell us more about that data. How do you actually collect the data? Are you doing 3-year trends, 5-year trends?
Well,
we're
lucky.
Are you doing that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the assessment that we take is through the sophomore year, and normally, and it's an English assessment. There's a biology assessment in the freshman year. Then we have an assessment of algebra that's after the completion of Algebra B, which usually is about the sophomore year. And we're seeing a trend, at least in ICE, that's going up. We launched our unit of studies that are our meat of what we teach. Artful Learning has units that require the length of the unit to be 6 to 8 weeks, and I went back and researched that, and our attendance spiked up when that happened. So things are going in the right direction, for sure.
So if students are actually showing up to learn, it's highly likely that the test scores might have a little trending.
Absolutely.
Is that kind of how
Absolutely.
It works? Right. We have this debate sort of on the on the national level with our colleagues around the table. If you and I think sometimes we misinterpret the fact that when you are engaged in art learning, music education, that somehow there's an ingredient there that turns on the math capacity. You wanted to address that? Any of the teachers want to talk about that? I mean, does really, learning music automatically make you better at math, or what is the transfer effect? I see the band director would.
Sure.
Tim, please also always identify yourself.
Hi, my name's Tim Cox. I'm the director of bands here at Decatur Central High School, and in my 16th year teaching here, 21st year overall teaching. That's the research that it says that music students are typically better at taking tests and doing math and things like that. And I believe that that's the case. Obviously, spatial reasoning, things like that, the ability to break things down. We were doing a concept, and musicians do this all the time, where you have notes, and then you have they break down into smaller notes and break down into smaller notes. And it was ironic. Last year we were doing a marching band competition thing that we had written for us, and part of it had dubstep in it. And so it was funny that I was explaining to one of my math teachers in the ICE community that when you listen to that type of music, that there's music that's happening at a fast level with 16th notes, and then there's notes at the quarter note level and notes at the 8th note level, and then the big bass drops that cover 4 measures of music. And she was just blown away at the fact that our students understand all that. They understand the ability how to break things down, and mathematically it was a pretty easy jump to talk about how things break down into the various components. And she was doing something very similar and relating it to her algebra and particularly to her geometry class. So
you just described ratio in a marching band.
Yeah,
right?
Ratio through the music and the subdivision of beats and the ratio that it takes to understand and play that.
So there's the content correlation.
I believe that there really is,
right.
And a lot of people, if you don't think about it, you wouldn't realize that it's there. But when we were explaining it to her, she was like, "Oh my gosh, that's exactly what we're doing in math." And so we picked a couple pieces, and she listened to it, had some of her classes listen to it, and I think that the kids found out that, oh yeah, this is pretty similar. I know
so
how
there's
this works.
content correlation, but talk a little bit about the human focus and discipline side that might transfer even more strongly over to the academic, core academic side.
Being a disciplined musician is really what it's all about. Our particular students, both Drew can attest to this and myself, that there's a lot of discipline in the fact that we're going through basic fundamentals of how to produce pitch or sound or technique. And the ability to just get as many repetitions as you can at the highest level possible is a discipline, and a focus that not a lot of kids get. Certainly athletes kind of understand that, I think, a little bit. But in our particular world, if you're in athletics and you make half of your shots, then you are the best athlete that's ever walked the planet. If you're a musician and you hit half the notes you play, you're one of the worst musicians nobody's ever going to want to listen to. So it was really interesting, and I think that our students understand that, the discipline that it takes to be a good musician, and transferring that over into academics.
Thank you so much. Our choir director, would you like to add something? Please identify yourself.
I'm Drew Childs. I'm the choir director here at Decatur Central in my 9th year here. It's certainly true that there is a crossover. What we, in order to make our ensembles successful, one of the things that is very important is that the kids not only know what they need to do, but then also how they can execute that well. And that's, I think, in a nutshell, what every educator wants for all of their students. Here's what you need to know, and I'm going to help you find an efficient and meaningful way to execute biology, English, social studies, whatever it is. And so together, we're working to get kids in the process so that it's not chunky. If you understand what I mean, like I work real hard in this class, but in that class, there's no connection there. What we're really about is developing students broadly. And if you can be successful in my class, then I hope that you are very likely to be able to do the things that would lead to success in other areas. Dr. Tim Lotzenheiser likes to say that kids who have been through the fine arts are set up for success in that they know that repetition and moving in a direction toward a goal is really important. If you want to be a doctor, then you have that in mind and you do what you need to do to get there. You want to be a lawyer, have that in mind, you do what you need to do to get there. You want to give a successful performance, you have that in mind, you do what you need to do to get there. And that's not distinct to the arts necessarily, but it certainly is very applicable in the arts, and hopefully what we do on a day-to-day basis pushes kids in that direction so that a teacher can say to them, this is not so different. And your learning and your ability to be successful in any particular area is fundamentally based on the same processes and principles that we use in the arts.
We need to give him a hand. That's just great. Wow, that's very powerful. I had a daughter who came up through the schools, and they were in her math training, they were using the word practice. In my earlier life, that word in regards to math was not used. So even the thought that the academic subjects, of course, music and the arts are core academic subjects, are sharing language around student skill set and development. We welcome to the panel Mike McBride, who is the advocacy chair for the Indiana Music Education Association. He's a general music elementary teacher. I love general music. I was one of those once. In Lawrence, Indiana, you're helping the association lead sort of its state-level advocacy efforts. What are the challenges? We'll talk about challenges.
Well, the challenges of a state association, of course, would be to meet the needs of pre-K through post-12, of course, such a wide variety in our field of music, as we've also collaborated with several arts associations. I think what's really helped us meet some of those challenges is our partnership nationally with NAFME, as well as the national stride right now for the National Core National Core Standards in Arts Education, which would stem not just music, but across the field of art, theater, dance, drama. Within that endeavor, we're really looking even beyond content to how do students think, as I think Drew was starting to touch on. And in Lawrence Township, where I currently teach, we are focusing right now on constructivist thinking. Some people know it as project approach. So I've taken that in my presentations with various people through the association, and how do we think as educators and how can we think as advocacy specialists. And with our students, that means not just here's what you need to know, learn it. It's how can we get there? What else do you want to know? How could we use that? well, why don't we know this? And my administrators are realizing more and more each day that, oh my goodness, music does this, and the arts are doing this, and developing more of an appreciation, as are the educators in the township and across the state. So I think affecting how our students and the teachers and the parents think about the arts and the students' education is of prime importance to meeting a challenge of how do we meet everybody's needs, and not just the educators but the parents.
So what I'm hearing from my lens of public policy and advocacy is that we also have to practice being good advocates.
Most definitely,
Right.
yeah.
And I think that's a new, maybe a new chapter for many of us. I mean, did you train in advocacy as a general music teacher specialist?
Unfortunately not. It came with the job. But one thing that has helped are the students, quite honestly, seeing their faces and saying, oh my goodness, that was great, or at the end of a lesson, that was fun. I mean, obviously we go for the fun factor, and then they don't realize the learning was snuck underneath the rug or behind the door. I mean, ha ha ha. But at any rate, it's at that point that the students take that to the parents and their other teachers, the principals, the administrators, and of course we have the education speak to say this is actually what's happening, and we're able to get the students there more quickly or more efficiently because it's an avenue that's relevant for the students.
I think the concept of teachers, and we have three arts teachers on the stage, right? I'm not missing. We have the 2 academic teachers, right? 3, and then the lead teacher, 3 students, and the principal, director, really your principal. I can call you principal, right? He'll answer. But, we have to be better, I think, from the arts education, music education perspective, to tell really what's going on. Because, I think in terms of the learning scaffolding, and I think that if we could demonstrate, I think by all the teacher observations that are required by some of our grants, it's not such a bad thing, because especially from the music education side, you have more opportunities maybe to say, no, we're doing this activity not because the kids love it and it looks cool and it's loud and it doesn't, but these are the learning scaffolds that are actually happening. Would you like to talk about that? I mean, as a general music teacher, kindergarten, do you have little ones?
I have
right?
K through 6.
So everyone, they're so cute and everything is right, but they don't realize the depth of auditory discrimination that's going on and symbolic transfer and motor skills.
Yes, they don't just come in learning how to sing or how to match pitch, and some do not have a beat. Something as simple as that. Clear up through our 6th graders. Being able to intricately put all those layers together and make it sound musical is certainly a challenge at the general music level. However, coming back to the students, many of us have performances, program, concerts, whatever they're called in different vicinities. It's at that locale that you can really advocate for music education, and of course your individual programs. I tried to do, and a lot of my colleagues try to do different videos of the students, not just the actual live performance, so that the parents can see more of the process, not just the product of that night. We have even in the past interviewed different parents throughout the district and showcased that so that they have some discussion, not just from the teacher standpoint or the student standpoint, but they see how the parents are buying in. And I know many townships across Indianapolis, and I'm sure across the state, are really seeking out parent feedback as far as what programs, as we had discussed, are offered or would you like to be offered. And in fact, my district completely rearranged the elementary system to accommodate magnet programs. Two of our 11 elementary schools are now performing arts magnet schools to meet the needs of our students better. So I think efforts like that, reaching through the students to the parents and to the administrators, will really help us to narrow in that focus and show it's not just singing games and playing instruments and whatnot, although those are absolutely important. It's the process of helping our kids think creatively, collaboratively, and communicate better, those 21st century skills that are utterly important right now.
I think someone walks into a music classroom or a concert, or they see kids engaged and they go, oh, it's good. But then we need to give them the language and the understanding of why it's good. And then when the program is, we always say in advocacy that the best advocate is a great program. And, the program sort of carries its own water. But in complicated times, and with accountability and assessments and everything else, we have to carve out a stronger place. I'd like to go back to our I call you academic teachers, or the non-arts teachers, including our principal Todd. I came up through a time where it was the arts were a frill in academic was, and I really tried not to even use that term this morning, but I use it only as a comparison. Are we at a tipping point from your perspective as the non-arts teachers and the school administrators, and I invite all of you to share with us, that we are really thinking that it's essential for what we want children in terms as we plan curriculum? Would we ever consider not including it in our curriculum plans? Todd, jump
Well, you touched on something earlier about evaluations, and obviously our state has moved into, with Senate Bill 1 a couple years ago, with teacher evaluations and the accountability piece to that. And we've adopted something called TAP, which is a national evaluation system that's out there. And ironically, in the last 2 years, and we've been doing this, some of our highest graded teachers have been our music and arts. Within that, obviously, there's a piece of motivating students, obviously hitting standards and objectives, and creation piece. And arts lends itself to all of that. So it's been interesting to look at it through that lens of here's a state or local or a state or national level evaluation system, and here the arts helps spur that and actually have our teachers score even better than they might have in the past. And we've noticed with a lot of our gen ed teachers, if I'll call them gen ed teachers, the non-arts teachers, in ICE, they've added that piece to their classroom as well. And it's not uncommon for me to walk into a classroom now, and on the board I will see the objective. Obviously, they're going to hit for the day. Their standard for their class, may it be English or social studies, but they'll also have an art standard that they're hitting that day. And knowing that cross-curriculum and how that engages kids, and creating that bond between the arts and regular ed classes. And I've noticed a difference in engagement, and I think it's kudos to the staff for starting to pick and understand that this is a great conduit to teach from.
And it takes time for staff to work together, too.
Absolutely.
They need time to do that. How about from our history teacher or our English teacher, or Latin teacher, or government Latin teacher? Please, anyone.
I'll go ahead and chime in. My name is Ashley Emery. I teach English in ICE. It's almost expected when they come in the classroom. They expect you to teach them something through the arts. For instance, in our dramatic literature class, when we teach Shakespeare, we teach Much Ado About Nothing. We'll create playlists for the characters. They'll choose a character, and I'll let them select what music they enjoy. And they are getting a chance to listen to what they like, to analyze the music, the tone. They have to analyze the lyrics, so we're incorporating poetry, and they have to really know the characters. And so it's really bringing it all together. So, and you realize that they learn so much more about the text when they incorporate something else that they enjoy.
So the playlist they can draw from their own contemporary experience.
Absolutely.
I would like to see some of those playlists.
They come up with some very interesting playlists, but it's really neat to see how something that they think is not relevant to them, obviously Shakespeare, scary, that has nothing to do with me, can really correlate to what they are doing themselves, so that these characters have the same emotions, and we can see that through song or through music. So it's really neat to see them make those connections and to use music to do that.
So if someone said to you, they were going to teleport you in Star Trek, and they would say, all right, we're going to teleport you away from the ICE Academy. I know you don't want to leave, but we're going to teleport you away, and you need to go over to this school. And in this school, we don't think the arts are important. What would be the first thing that you would do in that new school?
I would incorporate lessons that show that it's effective, that it doesn't have to be we're coloring or we're drawing or we're painting. You can really bring in core standards into the arts. I mean, we're analyzing poetry. We're looking at writing. We're characterization. We're reading a historical text, a literary text. And all while we're doing that, the students are gaining more knowledge about the text and about poetry at the same time. So we're really bringing in two genres into one.
So you would create a movement on the new planet.
I would show facts. I would show lesson plans,
right.
because really it shows that they do enjoy it. So
great. Thank you. How about our head teacher? Thank you.
Linda Chandler.
Thanks, Linda.
I teach literature through film, and in that, music is very powerful. Most kids come in thinking music is just an afterthought. In a film, music is probably one of the first things. When I teach, I have to show them how powerful music is. So we will watch a scene without the music, and then I will show them a scene with the music, and we will talk about how the music causes them to think, problem solving, creative skills. Music is very powerful in the arts, and especially film.
That's wonderful. I heard about you have is it government in film or history? U.S. history and film course. Are you involved with that as well?
No.
But you probably understand the curriculum and all of that.
Literature through film,
yeah.
where we actually take novels and we read in the dark. We actually read the films, the settings, the plot, the themes, everything that you would do in a book. However, we bring in the music, and that's what a book cannot give you. So it's very
interesting. And you've been teaching for a long time. You've probably seen many trends in education.
Yes, I have.
How are the changes now with all this arts integration? How do you see it as different? And from your view, is it an important answer to what we want for our children?
The kids are more engaged. If you would look at the list, what are people coming into the various businesses not knowing? One thing is creativity, and having the arts is giving the students that ability to create so they can go out on their jobs and think of new ideas because they have had that problem-solving skills that they have learned through the arts.
That's great. You know, what you said first was very powerful. They are more engaged.
Yeah.
And, you know, you think that we want students to go into the 21st century to be creative. And we say, well, we want them to invent a new microchip. That's being creative. Or we want them to be a new fashion designer because that's... But creative is like taking a project and getting through it. And having the skills to say, all right, you're the new hire, you've been here for a week, you have to plan the outsourced retreat. You know, you have to plan. That takes a lot of organization, and that you learn that, I think what you're saying, you learn that from the bottom up by having this process in school. Going back to our Latin teacher, how does this relate to you?
Well, I think the Express portion of our Imagine, Create, Express, you started off asking about challenges. I guess I should start with that. And I can see I have a senior government class. I also have freshmen in Latin 1. And the willingness and abilities of those students to express themselves as they come in as freshmen, they're really hesitant. They don't want to get up in front of people. They don't want to share their thoughts. They're guarded. And I have, my government class is right here in the audience today. And
they're not. Express yourselves. Go ahead. Express yourselves.
And a couple of the students are up here on the panel, and they amaze me. I know they'll remember. We did a small skit with. We kind of did the steps as individuals have gained, or really not gained, but their freedoms have been recognized by their governments, going back all the way to BC times, all the way through our own Bill of Rights. And one was the Magna Carta, and the Magna Carta group did a great skit that really brought that time period and that experience to life for everybody. The whole class, though, their willingness and their ability to express and to share what they learned with their class is something that's always going to be challenging, but their comfort and willingness to do that is something that's going to help them whatever they decide to do in their careers, in their family, and just hopefully in government class of learning to be good citizens. In a democratic republic, we need citizens who can express their thoughts, and And I think that this group of ICE seniors does a great job with that.
That's great. Thank you. Let's pass our mics to our students now. We kind of this has been the warm-up for the real stars, right? Because this is all about the students. Why don't you just introduce each of you before we ask the questions and your background in the arts and your name and your grade.
My name is James Davis. I'm a senior at Decatur Central. I'm a part of the Golden Heirs group, theater, and several other things throughout the school, not just in ICE.
I'm Tori. I'm a senior in the ICE community. I've been in show choir for 3 years, and I've been in choir for 7 years.
I'm Audrey Traylor I'm a senior in ICE community. I have done show choir for 3 years. I did a season of drumline and 4 years of musical and crew on the plays that we do.
Wow. So, last question, data question. So when did you start being involved in the arts? What grade or?
Ever since I was small, I think 5 probably was when I started dance. My parents put me in ballroom dancing from 5 years old up to when we moved here to Indiana. And there was dancing, there was painting, and then when we moved here to Indiana, we found that there's the ICE program. So I immediately jumped into it and found Mr. Childs, who's an awesome director, and has helped me through a lot of things.
Great. How about you?
I started in 6th grade when I started show choir at Martinsville. Then I came here in 7th, and I've been in choir ever since. Mr. Childs got me interested in show choir my sophomore year, and I'm in love with it. I wouldn't rather be doing anything else. So.
Great. How about you?
I've always done the arts since I was little, and when I got to high school, I got really involved. My freshman year, I decided to audition for the musical, and it all just went uphill from there. Ever since then, I've just been so involved, and I think without it, I don't know where I would be. That's what my whole life revolves around.
You know, when young people use the words that you've used, I mean, you're 17, 18, is that kind of where you are? You've had, your families have helped you along, you've had good teachers. But when you say at 17, 18, it's been my whole life. I mean, it's a wonderful life, but I want to ask the question, how's it going to help you going forward? You're at a really good year now, right? You're top of the heap, you're the seniors, everyone's looking up to you, you got the spot in the section that you wanted, or you're leading the groups. So how do you see it's helped you to get to this year senior, but how's it going to help you move forward?
Well, when I get out of high school, I want to become an aerospace engineer. To be an aerospace engineer, there's a whole bunch of schooling and stuff, but the main portion of what they do is they build and design for the military and stuff. I feel that my background in art will help me with that, and plus being in choir, they always teach us one more. We can be doing our contest show, and Childs will be like, let's do it one more time. Oh no, let's do it one more time. One more, there you go. And I really think that correlates to everything else, to which I can draw something up, I need to do it again. And it helps with studies and everything.
Mine, I want to be a doctor, nursing in the medical field, and same thing with the one more time, band and choir both. Oh, do it one more time, because if you're just kind of doing it half, then nobody's going to want to come to you. So, like that object of the aspect of doing one more time, that's going to help me to give everything I have each and every single time I go into the office.
Well, during the day, if you ever want to find me, I'm usually here. I decided over the summer that I want to become a theater teacher. So I've been spending a ton of time with Miss Cordray. Any of my free periods, I'm usually with her working on the musical or doing something. And I think if I didn't get so involved my freshman year, I'd still be lost. I wouldn't know what I want to do in the future. And being in the arts and all the different kinds of arts, it really has broadened my horizons and made me respect all of the arts as equals. And they all just work so hard. I think the arts kids are some of the hardest working kids in our school. Even though we have our extracurriculars, it teaches us to balance everything in life. That even last year I was doing 2 AP classes, the play, show choir, and drumline, and it was probably the hardest thing ever, but I would not trade it for the world. It was the best year I've ever had, and I think without it, this year this year seems so much easier compared to last year now.
It was the best year you ever had until this year, right? Right, that's great. Our band, choir, and general music teacher, how does this sit with you? How do you reflect on this? How does it make you feel to have this kind of validation from?
It's awesome.
Great kids.
Yeah, we get a lot of compliments, and it's cool. And both of my kids, I have a freshman at Ball State University, and I have a junior here in the room. And it's great to hear the compliments, but really it goes back to the kids. You can only teach the kids that are in front of you. And some of our kids come from some pretty dysfunctional families, and some of them don't come with a lot of talent or money or things, and we tell them that those things are important, but what really is important is hard work. We're going to teach you how to work hard, and we're going to teach you the one more, and we're going to teach you to get up and be at rehearsal at 7 a.m. And we're going to teach you how to act in front of people. We're going to teach you how to respect others. We're going to teach you how to get along even if you don't like somebody. And we get a lot of awards, and I think our groups are fairly accomplished here. Especially in Indianapolis, where everybody's great. Our music community in Indianapolis is just like none other in the country. It really is the best, and it's just a real blessing. And Mr. Sconce allows us to dream, and we can go places and do things, and do the national competitions, and Bands of America, and WGI, and we can travel to the Fiesta Bowl and the Sugar Bowl, and those are great experiences that a lot of kids may not get to do unless they're a part of our programs. And I've told my daughter, I've told my son many times that, we're not training you to be band directors or choir directors or theater people. We're training you to be great people who can be, reliable, who can be people that you can count on, who can be people of character, who can go out and represent and be a good citizen, I think, as I heard JP say. That really, I think that's what the program is about. Our kids prove us right a lot.
Wow, that's great.
We're thinking about advocacy, sorry. And I think this is it here. When a student who has been through a program can say, this is how it's impacted me, and the value of the program that it's been in my life, I don't know that I could be a better advocate for my program. They are my advocates when they're communicating to the people that they interact with on a daily basis about what the fine arts have meant to them and how that's pushed them in important directions in their lives. We try. We work real hard, and because we know that somewhere along the line, the fine arts affected us and changed our lives. And so we hope that we can communicate that with our own students, but we never, really know how it's going to turn out until you hear things like that, and you think we really are making a difference, and they can share that. And I tell my students, in the era that we live in, and I mention it at every concert that we give, it's really important that if you see value in what you're doing, that you let people know about that.
We all have that opportunity now. I don't know how many tweets have left this room. Thank you, Scott McCormick. He's been tweeting like mad. I think he just left. Because I hear my pockets are buzzing with all we have to tell the story. We have to tell the story through data. We have to tell the story through standards-based core academic correlations and what's being taught and how it's being taught and what the outcomes. But the end game is the beauty of our students that are here and their experience. One more comment, then we'll give the students
Absolutely.
the mic.
I think they've really said it all. And these guys have definitely touched on much of what I would say. I just wanted to reiterate that I'm so proud of our students for thinking beyond themselves. Even just these specific students, as they've mentioned the different careers they went to go in there, they're not self-serving or self-isolating careers. They're careers that will affect other people. And when you think of the journeys that they've had up until now to encourage them to have those kind of perspectives that you've mentioned, multifaceted arts education that have encouraged them to think out of the box, to employ other people in teamwork, to collaborate, to get other points of view that they will then take into other people. And I think as arts educators, we really think, or at least need to think, we're not just affecting this student, we're affecting the people that they will soon sing to or play with or teach or, whatever their jobs are, how they will think creatively and collaborate with their people. We need to take that to heart and communicate that message. And a lot of times we think we don't have the time. Well, they said it very sufficiently right here in a matter of sentences.
Let's pass back to the students. Let's put them on the spot now again, right? I know when I was coming up,
through my training, and I grew up in a very, very rural and kind of displaced community at the time in Wisconsin. There was a remarkable thing happened there, is that for some reason school administrators got together and hired remarkable faculty. It was just that, that convergence of vision and mission. Well, let's give these kids who are basically pretty much, dumber than doorknobs, great teachers, and we'll see what happens. It's like a great, I was one of those kids, right? So we had a chance to interact with just remarkable teachers. I'd love to hear from the students, don't maybe necessarily name a teacher, but what were the qualities of the teachers that, especially in music and the arts, that just sort of changed everything? Is there one kind of moment where it all just sort of, like all of a sudden you just knew what was happening in your life and what you needed to do?
Well, for me, not only the passion that they have for the job that they do, but the compassion that they have towards us. Every arts teacher and every teacher here pretty much, just really cares about their students. They always like to joke, we don't do it for the salary, we do it for you. Like, that's what they're here for. And I honestly feel like I could go talk to my arts teachers more than I could my counselor. I see them more. I spend more time with them. They've impacted my life more. I spend more time here than I do at home. So just be around positive people all the time. We always have pep talks before each show all the time, just encouraging me and everyone else to do something bigger has what's pushed me.
So those teachers really helped you find your voice.
Yes.
That's great. How about you?
With me, it's the passion the teachers have for what they're doing. They're all nice to us, and being in the classroom, a lot of my teachers that I have here in ICE, they don't just, oh, well, you need to do this. They, some of my teachers jump around the room trying to get us to do, just trying to show us, hey, you need to do this. But they don't just tell us. They, I don't know, they try and get us interested. They make themselves noticed, and I don't know, I love it, so.
That's great.
I think we're all going to say it, but just our teachers' passion, and they express it in so many different ways. Like Audrey was saying, we spend so much time here. It's like a second home. Some of these teachers are like second parents to us. They do so many things for us, and they take care of us in so many ways. I don't know how to explain how great they are.
Yeah, well, what a testament. How great is that? I think what we're going to do now is maybe put one mic over there and one mic over here, but we'll have Mr. Sconce be the last comment. We'll start with you, JP, okay? And then one comment starting there and then coming down this side, just kind of a wrap-up about, this is the start of the school year. I say another year of great music education, another year of advocacy. So is there anything you'd like to share in terms of sort of your plans, goals for the year? And maybe how you're going to maybe have a goal to be a different type of advocate, or, share your story with not only your community, but through the coalition. I'll start with you.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. Well, first of all, events like this that happen, we've had Scott McCormick in to work with our booster parents a little bit, and Dr. Tim Lotzenheiser's been here, and there's just a lot of resources around, so I appreciate you guys being here. For me, I think you said it well. One of the best things that I always come back to is that creating a great program will help to speak for itself, and that if you're doing a good job and your program is successful, then that's going to speak a lot and that's going to speak to a lot of people. But I guess sitting on the panel this morning, it helps me realize that even though we're putting a ton of time and energy into making sure that the bands sound great, or the marching band and the jazz band and the color guard and all those things do a great job, is that it's still part of my job is to say things. Although my kids perform and perform a lot, it's still part of my job to make sure that I reach out to the administrators, to the superintendent, to the newspaper, and go, these are great things being done by great kids, and I just need to make sure that they know that those things are still happening.
Great. How about you, Mike? As your advocacy hat too.
Yes, absolutely. This would go for students, teachers, parents, and administrators. Say something, do something. It's amazing when it's all said and done. You actually look back how easy that first step was. As hard it is in the beginning to take it. And I think some of the best strides happen from simply taking that step. So I think that would be my major encouragement, to please say something, do something to support your music education, your arts education, wherever you are right now. In my particular district, a huge K-12 alignment was sparked simply because someone, was not intimidated to make that connection to administration and to seek it out, to start something, and to really advertise what's going on for and with the students. So students, parents, teachers, and men, please say and do something for your arts.
I believe that every child has a creative side. And if we do not support the arts, we don't speak to that creativity that is in that child. And as educators, we must teach the whole child. So the arts are very important.
Thank you. Beautifully said. Ashley?
I think as the school year begins, my goal is to incorporate as many aspects of the arts as possible into my classroom and get as many kids in their seats as possible and in the classroom and engaged and just really there. I don't want kids to just show up. I want kids to enjoy what they're doing and to love what they're learning. And if I can be the catalyst for them to enjoy learning and to move forward and to really be well-rounded through the arts, that's my ultimate goal, and to keep sharing how impactful art and learning can be.
Great.
We've started in Decatur Township in the last couple of years to really think about how important it is that we as art teachers, be that the visual arts or the performing arts, connect with each other so that it's not my isolated program at the high school, and I don't know what you're doing at the middle school, it seems okay, but that we talk to each other. So our elementary music teachers get together on a regular basis, discuss their curriculum. I coordinate with the middle school teacher, and we have an official curriculum alignment between our positions. And then just in the last couple of years, we've founded a township-wide choral festival where the elementary kids all the way through the high school kids come together and we perform for each other, and so that the little kids can watch the big kids, which they love, so the big kids can watch the little kids, which they love, and it's a wonderful, so that we're not so isolated. I think that our advocacy is so much stronger when we're all moving in the same direction rather than sort of hit and miss. And in our township, I think that we're really starting to see some good fruits from that, so that a student at the very earliest level, and we have an artful learning elementary school here in our district, can begin to move in a long process that keeps them involved in the arts. And as I sit and listen to what everybody's saying today, it's just such a wonderful reminder that hard work is really worthwhile for our kids.
Yeah. Let's jump to JP. We're going to come back to you students.
One of my goals for this year, I teach the U.S. government class with Mr. Griffith, who's the econ teacher, and one of our goals is to bring the arts, of course, into these subjects that aren't generally associated with the arts. One of our themes is values. We talked about balance. We talked about Aristotle, and virtue is the balance between the two extremes. We're going to talk about values. How you value things is reflected in how you spend your money, how you spend your time. Those concepts tie right into music, tie right into all other types of art as well. If you don't have the value in your painting, it's not going to turn out. If you don't have balance in your music, no one's going to want to listen to that. So continuing to blend all of that together is what I know Mr. Griffith and I are both working towards.
That's great. Let's pass to the students. So when I had a senior in high school, one of her goals when she flopped on my bed one night was, "Mom, I got to get into college." Right? What else are your goals? Well, we'll just say you're going to do fine with that goal. You're all going to do fine. But what are your other goals for the year, not only for yourselves, but maybe your class or things that you'd like to achieve?
Well, after college, like I said, I would like to be an aerospace engineer, and I really want to serve the country and everything through that, building planes and everything. And going through this year, I really hope the musical goes well. We have contest season coming up later on this year. That, I hope, should be awesome. Our show sounds really fun. And just
What is the show?
It's a 1950s swing through.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I just hope everything works out great, and I know it will. So
My goal is I'm with Mr. Griffith most of my day, with all the juniors and sophomores and stuff. Well, juniors mainly. But I just want to show them how, like, what you do in his class and what you do all through ICE is they teach you how to express yourself and really how important that is, because communication later on is going to be a big deal. So
Great.
For me, some of the goals, like just for this year, is we just had freshman orientation at the beginning of the year, and I stressed to them, we met with the ICE kids, I stressed to them how important being involved with the arts was. That if you don't surround yourself with something, you might get lost and caught up all in high school. And to be a part of something that's more than just yourself is just a huge deal, and it teaches you real world things. And for me this year, it's just to be really involved and show other students my passion like my teachers have shown towards me. So this year I'm really hoping to share what I love with people and hope getting them interested, because we're gone next year and I want the arts to keep staying strong.
That's great. Todd, please take us and our panel with your thoughts as the leader of this remarkable place.
Well, first I want to thank everybody for being part of the panel. You can see we have an excellent group of teachers and students. I'm really thankful to be a part of this. And again, it's not about us, it's about the kids. And that's what we try to explain and get that drilled down to our staff as well, because that's really what's important. And again, it's nice to see the accolades that they achieve here. It's nice to see that we've won some awards for our arts programs and such. But the real test, if we've done our job, will be in a few years when we see what kind of fathers, we see what kind of mothers, we see what kind of husbands, what kind of workers they become. And that'll be the real test, and we'll find that out here in a few years. And if it's anything like I think, we've done our job very well. And my goal is to obviously hire great teachers, great educators, and then get them the resources they need, and then get out of the way.
Wow. Let's give our panel a hand. We don't have too many people left in the room. This has been a great event here at Decatur Central High School. I can't thank our panel enough for being here and for their wonderful words. Very inspiring for the Support Music Community Forum to have an event here, be a part of their world. We have to keep telling your story to everybody. This is a really powerful story, and we hope that we all can connect on Facebook and Twitter so you could tell our stories and we'll broadcast them out. So many communities are working hard to assure great opportunities for their students like Decatur Central High School, and we would like all of you to participate in our Support Music Coalition. You can find us at Facebook, you can find us at nammfoundation.org, and you can find us next Monday in Lansing, Michigan. So please plan to come back to the lennonbus.org/live events. We'll be here again for our community forum from Lansing. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Decatur, for having us. And together we're going to keep music education strong. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you as well.
Bravo.